a lot of those riots in cities, and cities that are just like we've talked about, they're compromised. There's people compromised, intellectually, through different means, educational systems,
Yes.
a ultra, conspiracy theory bullshit, conspiracy theory, and Trump, Orange Man bad, psychosis. So all of this is going to be a problem for those people that have been fomenting that in big cities where they're going to be the most vulnerable, and they're probably going to be targeted the most and suffer the most.
You've already suggested, I can't tell you countless of times, the big cities is not the place to be. And this is like probably the sort of initiation purpose. The big cities are going to be burning because they've been like the depth of this Obama sort of spirit, this Babylonian spirit goes deep, like you just said, to all the way down sometimes to the school boards. It causes me. I don't want to. I want to like jump back onto the Trump thing because I empathize. I have this feeling of that. Wait a minute, what's going on with Epstein? So it's so easy for us because I do it all the time to armchair quarterback. And Elvis had a song that's called "Clean Up Your Own Backyard," and I'm always remembered to that because he's like, back porch preachers, armchair quarterbacks. Everybody somehow knows what to do. And I feel that too. We want justice right away, but man, I don't know how this is huge. So, and it's interconnected. It's not just Epstein, it's massive. So I have no idea what is necessary. Although I'm with everybody, I want to see justice too, deeply so. And I pray and I believe that it's all going to get exposed. Like think about a month or so ago, I shared that lifting of the skirt prophecy where, man, that's a high exposure when someone it's sort of depicting a woman whose skirt is being lifted all the way up over her neck to expose the whoring. And so be patient because I think it's all going to get exposed. And I think part of the idea is that so that we as a people, like God's kids, will sort of repent. We're already coming to that place where we don't want anything to do with that. But we really want, like, I'll give you an example in just a sec. We really want these people that are participating in that. We want their repentance. My brother and good friend was in admin at a public school just locally here. And he sent me a video, and I have to show it sometime, where they were installing tampons in the boys' bathroom in junior high. So, this is a woke school district. So talking about it goes all the way into the school district. And that at some level, the board, the county, the supervisors, everybody's getting a piece of federal money under the hood.
I was going to say that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
They probably spent like $100 million to put in those tampons in those schools.
Yes.
Because somebody had to do the study for it. You had to get legal counselors and lawyers and, practitioners in human health care and all kinds of stuff. They all get paid before that happens.
They all get paid, you guys.
It's like that bullet train to nowhere in California. Like I think I saw the latest $175 billion, and there's not 1 inch of track left or that's been laid because everything's been paid beforehand. It's like crazy.
And China just built like a 800-mile bullet chain in 5 years, like a 200-mile-an-hour train. And here under Newscom, the money's gone. Right. It's just fascinating. But
and there's more.
He shows me this video, and it's funny. So they're installing it all, and then he comes and he shows me the video like 2 days later. Now you can imagine, I could picture you and I as junior high boys. What's going to happen to a tampon machine in our bathroom? That's exactly what happened. He sends me this video, and it's like shredded tampons that go for like 4 school buildings. These boys ripped that thing off the wall, and there's tampons everywhere. And we just laughed.
Nice. Good young men. Good young men that will be good men in the future. Lovely.
We call it just natural consequences.
Yeah.
So needless to say, they left those out of the boys' bathroom after that.
Mm.
Those little junior high kids are like, we're not having anything to do with this. They probably played with those things as toys for weeks after that. And I can imagine, setting it, because we've done this as kids, where I would take big fat thumbtacks, and when our teacher would leave the room, we'd stick a thumbtack on their chair, and
Ooh.
and a couple of times they would come in and sit down and jump right back up. So I know junior high boys did stuff with those tampons that probably were like had the admin going crazy. But it just shows
Probably some
that,
good
like,
jokes that should have been shared. Yeah.
the corruption, the money
Yeah.
in this whoring mechanism is everywhere, right down to the local school, the ticket writers and
There's a
everything.
Babylon everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard from people, I was reading the chat this morning. I don't often, it's 555 people watching. That's cool. I don't normally get a chance to look at the chat, but this morning I had a little time. So I'm looking at the chat, and people are, and I hear this all the time. I've been hearing this for years. How people are, they're awake. They love to watch your shows because it's the only confirmation that they're normal, that they can get, and know that there's other people out there that think normal like we do. And they're surrounded. It's unbelievable. Surrounded by families. Many Canadian people are saying, I'm the only one. They have like sisters and brothers, uncles, everybody woke. They have children, all woke. They have grandchildren, all woke. They have everyone around them. And they just name all these. It's like, it sounds like hundreds of people around them are woke. Wow. And then there was like, below that, they're just like, fretting over that. And there's like 17 comments under that selling other people from all over our country saying the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And then there was somebody in there, of course, that's like, we are many. Don't worry. And we know that, but it is those people that are most vocal. And I remember this, in the military and so forth. The ones that are most vocal are usually the ones that are usually wrong. Because they have to prove a point, which is usually they have to do it through anger and intimidation. And most people that know the truth, you can lie all you want. We're still not going to be, And I guess we can tell these people that are compromised the truth all day long, and they won't wake up either. So what do we do with all these people?
Well, they're going to wake up. It's come hell or high water. They're going to wake up. And I wish, I honestly,
Cities are burning around.
yeah, as they get pain, they're going to wake up, and then they're going to reach out to you, because you all of like your listeners, they're listening to you. I'm just going to give you another. I love your shows. I'm like grateful for what you're doing, and everyone else that's in this, truther movement, because it's very small. It should be 280 million by now. But when the trouble hits, they're going to be knocking on your door saying, what's going on? What do we do? What's going on? And also because, corporately, we're sort of like, there's an anguish in our souls that's going, this is so evil, so wrong, that God's listening to that. And he's like got a Sharpie, so to speak, and he's written it on your forehead so that the trouble that's coming, you're separate from that. And that's, I'm trusting in that as well. But
yeah.
He talks about that. I've written it on your foreheads, that for my angels that are watching over you, that they're going to help take care of you. And the people that are saying, fuck you, or sorry for my mouth, but like, you're stupid, you're a liar, that kind of, you're a conspiracist, they're going to suffer, and they're going to wake up.
Yeah, I know you're repeating what you've heard, but so
Yeah.
Now the reason why I bring that up, the reason why I bring up the Whores of Babylon, is that has potential of putting us into a weak position when we start to take them down. and then we have the rioting from the mentally compromised. So just to let everybody know, especially Russia, because Russia may take advantage of a situation where they consider us weak. We're letting them know, obviously, through this movement right here, that don't F around. Because even though we're going to be cleaning house like you're cleaning house in Ukraine, we're going to clean house here in America, right? So let's be cool.
Yeah.
You do your thing, we do our thing. But if you get out of line, we got this. So U.S. nuclear weapons transferred to U.K. soil for the first time in over 15 years. And they did it in the open. It wasn't secretive. I've been around this stuff my whole career, and it was always ultra secret.
Right.
So this they did openly. So an American C-17 transport plane visited RAF Lakenheath and Suffolk on Thursday. So this is one of the bases where they used to keep the nukes, and maybe still do, making a transatlantic journey from Kirkland Air Force Base in New Mexico, where the U.S. Air Force stores nuclear bombs. So they had the transponder on so that everybody could see. Everybody can see where this is going. They did a aerial refuel, which means it's like high priority. And it landed there, and it didn't take back off. It wasn't like it's landing, dropping off something and flying back with something.
Stayed
So
there.
it landed and stayed. So it's basically sending a signal to the world that we possibly may be perceived as being, weakened or compromised because we're going to start to clean house. This is my opinion of this situation. But don't be misled, because we are still very strong, and we still can handle business if it comes down to it. So we're still going to have strength. We're going to show strength while we're cleaning up our treasonous people, our whores of Babylon.
It's such a huge job. I pray for Trump and the team because, even though we don't agree with everything, I totally believe that he's God's guy for the moment, and I think he knows it. And perhaps that's why he seems, arrogant and strong. I don't know, but I believe that he's here for this time for a reason. And he's
Yeah,
like,
he was definitely groomed and chosen.
yeah,
Just like
and he's
Jesus
not,
was groomed and chosen for his position.
yeah,
Trump was groomed and chosen for look at his background.
yeah.
I mean, he doesn't drink, yes, he likes beautiful women. What real man doesn't, right? So that is one of the things they keep coming after him. We're going to continue to see all of this Epstein stuff, these lies. And he's already come after a lot of, like, the Wall Street Journals. Like, he's told them, you're not coming on this plane when I go to, like, Scotland or Ireland, wherever he's going next, because you basically lied. And I'm going to sue you on top of that.
Right.
So this is the way things are being played. So we're done with the mainstream media lies. When Tulsi Gabbard, that little short segment of 14 minutes where she talked and she revealed a lot of stuff,
huge. Yeah.
CNN came on and cut her off.
Yeah.
While she was broadcasting. So MSM is our enemy. They're the whores of Babylon too.
Yeah, and they actually need to be prosecuted probably first. I would prosecute them before or along with the Ho-Man. Yeah, because they're the ones that have delivered this lie to the world for a long, long time.
And the lie of COVID, the lie of the vaccination.
Yes.
So a lot of people need to be held accountable.
Yes.
But just like I talked about, you can go after a leader like Osama bin Laden, because imagine how many people all over the world wanted him for years and years, a decade. And then it was those of us within the intelligence community and in the higher levels of the military that really made that happen. Quite honestly, we pushed it. They couldn't resist. They're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to do this because
Right.
everybody's on it. So,
Yeah.
but we're gonna have a payback, and we're gonna show them. So
I
that's where we're at. These guys are gonna have some kind of payback, and I think we're gonna have like these riots in the cities.
And that, you bringing that up again brings a question to me that I was just wondering is like, because I sort of felt like the Ho man was really behind that whole thing. And then somebody in the military in the high ups cut that off. And then there was a get back to the SEAL teams later. So what are your thoughts on that? Like he was behind directing, the ISIL, Osama and stuff. He was participating in that.
So this is going to stretch everybody, but this is what I've seen for a very long time, or probably a couple of decades. You have people that run interference, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they're at very high levels, and
Okay.
they see disinformation. They plan operations which go in the wrong direction
Right.
and mislead. That's been something I've watched for a long time.
Yeah. I
It's
bet you.
not something that you can be outspoken about because you're in high levels of leadership position, and they will crush the shit out of you, and you will go
Right.
away and destroy you.
And they have the media complicity too. So they'll just
Yeah,
bury you.
yeah, and nothing will get done.
Right.
So you stay to work within the system, and there's so many people who are like, you should have exposed it where there's NDAs, and then like we just discussed, you'll be destroyed, which you know
Tina
I've been
Peters.
destroyed. So, but I came back. So you can talk your tough guy, but until you've been in a position where you have risked your life, and then you want to talk tough guy, tough lady, then I will listen. But if you haven't and you talk tough and you want this done now, you're just noise to me.
Well, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, thank you. And we have a lot of people listening now too,
I
so
know that. I
I
know that.
appreciate that. We are getting some good points across.
Yeah.
So it is a building situation where this evil group, and everybody's wanted it, and they want it now. They want the Epstein files revealed now. They want to know who killed JFK. I'm going to have another show soon where I'm going to bring out even more information about who killed JFK, how it worked, who did what. I've done these shows over and over again.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, that's not a
You
secret.
will never get that in a court of law and court of human mainstream media. It's
No.
never going to happen with this group that's in charge right now. So I know we're very frustrated that Trump didn't come down and give James Files immunity so that he could reveal a lot more, but we have ways to work around that, and so that'll come out when timing again. All right, so his life is under threat still. They could arrest him and put him back in jail, and they would love to do that. So he's treading the line like a lot of us do. So you want what you want, but you don't. You won't suffer the consequences. So
Thank
calm
you.
down and
Yeah.
let this thing, come as it will. Have your opinions, great. We all love different opinions. Discussion is important. Dissenting opinions are great, but this whining and crying and calling people out and names and all that stuff, it's just going to get deleted. It's going to get deleted, and you might get deleted for real in your cities,
Yeah.
right?
So back to you, that great point, because this armchair quarterbacking, wow, I can't personally imagine the load that this guy has. I think he needs our prayers and
Totally.
our intuitive support and our wellness, because like you said, I think he's at higher risk at assassination attempts than ever before. Ever.
Well, they tried to kill him many times.
Yeah.
He's killed the killers. He's like me. I look at him. He's like me. He was groomed for this his whole life. When he was born, he was going to do this, and they compromised him. And he thought he was working for the good guys. and then he learned, like I did. Yeah, it's all compromised.
Right.
And that's why we tell our tales now. So he's as much a hero. If you think I'm a hero, he's just as much, if not more.
Yeah.
So I try to relay that, and people get all pissed off. You just like shut the president of church.
I know. Well, Nancy Peters, I know your story, and that's like a classic example. We've watched openly what they've tried to do to Trump, and you have brought out people like Nancy Peters and Granny, just Nancy Peters trying to do right. And so many of us have never suffered like losing everything for taking a position. Or matter of fact, like, I don't even want to admit it. Most of the time I'll just not say anything if I know it's going to threaten something of mine. So yeah, it's just judging on him is very difficult. I really believe he's God's guy, even though in all of history, like God's guys have never been perfect. God said Cyrus was my anointed, and I think Trump is the Cyrus type. Matter of fact, I think he's the modern Cyrus.
Yeah.
And that's one of the issues that I have, because I have a really big heart for him. One time at his first
yeah, good point.
At his first election, this really touched me because I've watched in disgust since I was a teenager, sort of like I've always been sort of apolitical, and I'm like, these guys are disgusting. But Trump, when he was walking through these crowds, he would come across veterans that didn't have legs and stuff like that. And this guy would actually walk up and just touch their face. All other politicians would just, they'd smile from a distance, their phony smiles, but he would actually, you could see the compassion in his eyes was genuine, where he's touching these guys on the face, saying some really, special word to them. Very true and deep compassion. When I saw that, I'm like, no, this guy's for real. You don't make that kind of stuff up. What I saw with him interacting in some of these injured vets and stuff. So,
good point.
That was very.
Along those lines, we know that you come in contact with the public, and people can spread bioweapons. Like I've been hit, and there's been a lot of people who have died in the truth community from people that have transferred bioweapons on them. We talked about that. A lot of people talk about that. That they've been trying to do that to Trump.
Yep.
What do you think about his recent, the health? I won't call it a scare, but problem.
I think I want to share my screen on that because I think it deserves to kind of go through. It fits what we talk about all the time. So let me make sure I got this. Okay.
So Matthew in the chat said Trump came to his city after it flooded. Awesome.
So this is what I found, and I'd like to talk about it and also maybe offer some Michael Jaco help. So he's diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. Now, if we jump over to the Pfizer doc, we see venous problems, vasculitis, venous insufficiency from the shock, but I don't know that that's where this is from. So it says President Donald Trump underwent medical testing after he had been seen with deep bruises on his hand and swelling in his leg. So there's one of the bruises on his hand. You guys, can you see that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty prominent.
Levitt said Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs, which prompted the White House medical team to evaluate. So he underwent comprehensive examination, including a diagnostic of vascular studies, bilateral lower, looking for stuff. And basically they concluded that chronic, what he has, venous insufficiency is not considered a serious medical condition. It's treatable. It can be uncomfortable or painful. The photos circulated online show that minor bruising in the back of the president's hand, probably on his arms, everywhere. And so there's not anything they can do about it. So kind of what I would like to share is, there's a lot of things you could do about it.
Oh, absolutely.
All he has to do is just, get a hold of Michael and we'll help him for nothing. And so my question is, so these are probably the best doctors maybe in the world that he has on his team. So what is it? What is it wrong? What is wrong here with medicine that they can't find a bacterial biofilm? So this is what's driving this. He has a biofilm that they can't find. Medicine cannot find bacterial biofilms. They can find an acute stage of planktonic bacteria called an infection, but they can't find the biofilm. And that's what's driving the venous insufficiency. Guarantee you. As a matter of fact, next week, I'm going to show you which side of his mouth has an infected tooth. And so he has probably a root canal or an old crown or even an old filling somewhere that's been leaking for 25 years. And maybe even if he has new ones, it only takes one, you guys, one old cavity that the biofilm starts to grow under, the dentist replaces it, and he fixes it, and your tooth is fine, but the infection is still in your body, in a heart valve, or in your circulatory tree, like in Trump here. So this chronic venous insufficiency is a biofilm that's rendering the integrity of the vascular system to be weakened, and so it's easier to bruise. Now, I saw this in hundreds of patients that had the jab, that they would immediately start bruising. And so once we cleared the biofilm, that went away. So I would just like to leave him a little love and maybe give you a protocol for you guys who might be even suffering from this. I would send him to the store. I'd take him by the hand. As a matter of fact, we would walk into the store together. And I would put him on at least a dozen of the Intuostat throughout the day.
Oh, yeah. Intuostat is like so good for everything.
If not up to 18. And then I'd put him on maybe 6 teaspoons of the Cardio NF, the fermented Cardio NF. And of course, the Intuitive Ultra Life, because that is loaded with these bioflavonoids that will eliminate his bruising. And it's just about that simple. I might bump his immunity with the Intuitive One and the Intuitive Immunity because he has this, anything that's chronic, you guys. Okay, so he gets this diagnosis of something chronic. There has to be something driving it. And I asked a question last week, what would those two things be? The 2 or 3 types of infection the body can't get rid of. So for those of you who might have thought about it, it's in the tooth, in a vaccine, or in an old bacterial infection somewhere like he or one of us would have, like a strep throat or a pneumonia or an ear infection. And in our generation, once that occurs, some of those bacteria form biofilms. And then they spread into the bladder or the kidney, or in his case, it's in his circulatory tree. They can't see it. His heart still looks normal on the 50-year-old scan. So I'm going to make fun of that a little bit because it's old tech. CAT scans, MRIs, it's old shit, you guys. Now we're in the biophoton era with things like the patches, but this is old stuff. If you still get mammograms, this is 70-year-old crap. And so the cutting edge medicine is what we're talking about. We're medicine of the 21st century. So we want to help him because we want him to stay strong and vibrant. Anyway, so I just want to leave you with that little tour of we can help our president by running over to Michael's store and getting on those protocols.
So that one protocol about the bacterial, fungal, candida, mold, parasite hidden in the dental health. So you think that's what's going on with Trump? I do. I have no doubts. I'm gonna show you next week, and then I wish we had a way we could look it up. That he has to have. You know, it doesn't. I'm going to come back to you because I want to see you. I can't see you right now. I love talking to you. So because they can't see it, there's nothing in their scans like an X-ray, digital X-ray, or MRI or stuff like that. What they see is the result over years of a biofilm or years of a biofilm with
bacteria, parasites, candida, all share genome, the genetics inside of these biofilm, and they can't even get rid of them. So it could have been a dental cleaning when he was 40. So it doesn't have to be a bad tooth now. It could have been a bad tooth 30 years ago. And so let's assume that his mouth is completely clean, but the results of that old infection is still hiding in his body in this form of a biofilm. And so it's slowly shutting down it's causing this venous insufficiency. Well, that, they tell you what it is. Actually, the diagnosis is telling you what you just told them. So the vascular system's insufficient. It's not working good. And that's a disease diagnosis. That's why I'm like, science is so upside down. They just tell you back at you what you told them your symptoms were. So he has some form of infection somewhere. Obviously, now it's in the circulatory tree. And there's nothing greater. It would be from an infection or even a vaccine that would deliver a bacterial biofilm. There's nothing greater to start breaking down the integrity of the circulatory tree than a biofilm.
Yeah.
And then a biofilm in combination, like in Trump's example, a biofilm in combination with a nutrient deficiency, and you're going south. It might take 10, 20 years, but you're going south. Now, people that can nourish well with great superfoods, like in the store, it's going to slow way, way, way down. And that's why a lot of people go 10, 20, 30 years, because generally in America, we're still, pretty well nourished compared to a lot of other countries. So, but that biofilm will get you every time, period. There's no drugs or anything. Well, we got a lock on it now, but there's no medical science that can eliminate them. And a matter of fact, they don't even talk about them because there's nothing they can do. So bless him. We want to help him.
Yeah. So, you know what tooth it is and everything too?
If he opened his mouth, I could find it. Yeah.
Nice.
I can find it. Matter of fact, I'll tell you next week. Well, guys, I haven't had a chance this week. I've been so busy, but next week I'll tell you what quadrant of his mouth it is. Upper, which side, lower, which side. And then if I get a good image of him, I'll tell you if it's in his heart, and I'll tell you what the doses and everything are. So this is the beauty of the biophoton. And our DNA puts out these photons or light. And it's the most, Fritz Popp discovered that it was not just light, but it was the most organized, the most perfect light discovered in the entire universe. That's us. So our test is, a lot of people now have been contacting us this week, and they're like, how do you do this? What kind of test do I have to come to your house? That kind of stuff. So it's cool. Yeah, you guys all come to my house, but the test is using biophotons. So our body emits biophotons. They don't know how far out. So the fingertips are extremely sensitive, and they're putting out light. So that light, like a laser, all we have to do is attach it to a tooth, the bone, gum, or then a body organ like Trump's heart or his cardiac, like a main pulmonary artery or his carotid artery, and then the energy will go very, very low because his DNA conversation through his body would make it low because of the infection. So then his body would be the director of his own nutrient program. That's how smart it is. I'm just the listener. I don't know shit. Excuse my mouth, but I've sat with PhDs who finally were honest with me, in closed doors, and they say, we don't really know nothing. We're just guessing about everything when it comes to nutrition. But now the body knows everything, so we can listen to it, and it will tell us what energies, like the patch, that it wants to help overcome its own health issues. Yeah.
So it looks like another good one that we have in stock right now is the Intuitive Ultralife, because it's basically working on the urinary, bladder, prostate, reproductive, and cardiovascular support.
Yes.
And what's crazy about that, has extracts from over 400 flowers. So what is it about all? Is the pollen obviously a big thing? Getting the right pollen in, because I've done a lot of shows with a guy that did pine pollen, but you have 400 flower pollens in this one blossoms. What's the difference?
And it's from the same bees that make our amazing honey.
Ooh,
So
interesting.
yeah, so they've walked this line of death, like it's almost like your life, where they walk this line of death, and then because of that, they become like super strong, super amazing. When the pressure on these bees, this honey is perfect, and so what they do is they gather it, and then from it's actually 500 different bioflavonoid pollen flavonoids. And a lot of times in the market they sell them one at a time, like quercetin, hesperidin, and those that you can buy. But we love to not like try to isolate something. So what we do is we take this pollen from these bees, and then we purify it by removing any possible mold spore, because a lot of people might have bee allergies or bee pollen allergies. And so by removing the mold spore, makes it available to everyone. And so these flavonoids, these beautiful compounds, repair and rebuild the arterial tree, connective tissue, super anti-inflammatories, super for the lung, for anyone who's had like chronic lung issues. We've used it exclusively with a little bit of plant source vitamin C on hundreds of COVID patients, and then worse, on hundreds of patients who got damaged from the vaccine, where they would get like Trump, they'd have huge bruises where they would just spontaneously start bruising. So that's it. Yeah, this is like gold. And a lot of times to get these people out, like Trump, I'd probably put him on 12 a day for the first 60 days, and then maybe eventually drop him down to, he'd probably want to stay on 4 forever because of the prostate bladder benefits, for male and female reproductive health. And this is actually one of the tools we've used over and over again, where women come to us and they can't get pregnant. And this is one of the super nutrients that we use to help them conceive again. So yeah, it's super. That's what I would put them on. So good question.
Very nice. Very nice. So that's good. So what else you have on the show agenda?
Well, I have something called Red Pilled, and it's kind of in line, but maybe I'll just talk about this scan we had this week. Red Pilled is, and I can pick this up maybe next week. Like, remember in school, like in 3rd grade, you guys, where they sat down like maybe one day after lunch and they gave everybody a couple of red pills and you got your teeth all stained. Remember that class?
Oh, yeah.
In health class where you got red teeth and it was like we were all laughing at each other.
Because you had like food, or you didn't brush your teeth good or something.
Yeah. They made us brush, and then they made us go brush, and then we did it again. So what it's showing is it's showing little bacterial attachments, and that's what it was for. And so in this journey of, it started when we were young, when we were little children, my generation. And I think by the time I was 9, I had at least 4 mercury fillings already. And I'll tell you my journey in the future because it's profound. My own personal oral health journey. It's the reason I created this, because my own personal health journey is profound, massive. I should have been dead 4 times, and because of oral health issues. But so this woman gets scanned this week, and she just had a cardiac event like 2 days ago out of the hospital. We scan her and we find there's nothing. There's a spot where there's nothing. It's just old socket where she had an extraction.
Hmm.
So we're scanning every tooth, we scan the bone and the jaw and the gum and everything. And so the biophoton picks up the energy. So she has this, this old socket, and we're testing. And you guys, this test was the record in our oral scans record. So we had, and I'll describe that in just a sec. So we test this tooth, and I'm like, hey, so we get back to her with the results, and she's like, no, that tooth's been gone for years. I said, no, there's something super wrong still down in the bone, and it's causing all of your cardiac issues. Now, mind you, you guys, she's in Michael's store. She's on like 6 teaspoons of Cardio NF, and she's now taking 30 capsules of Intuistat just to keep herself out of the hospital. All right. So this is an urgent, severe case. So we send her to an endodontist, and because of her heart condition, he's like, I gotta not do this until your blood pressure is down to about 150. But what he finds in his X-ray, he does find it. And 3 or 4 dentists before him couldn't find it, said your teeth are great. So he finds this little piece of chipped root from an old extraction that's full of infection. Now, how do we figure out what full of infection is like? So Michael and I are testing each other, for example. And so let's say we're testing this client, this patient in the oral scans. And so we start bringing in the energy of the Intuistat and the Cardio NF. And we keep bringing that into the biofield, the biophoton field, our body. So we set that in our body until the test becomes coherent. So the body's telling us what level of problem or infection is in her bone, driving her mad cardiovascular issues, that her cardiologist says your heart looks fine. They can't find a biofilm. Okay, so get this. Michael, this is going to blow your mind. So it took us, what is a bottle of Intuistat? 60 capsules? All right, so it took us 60 capsule bottles times 24 bottles, 1,440 capsule would be her daily dose.
No way.
Yeah. Now I know you guys are all thinking you're out of your mind. I'm never going to take 1,440. But the point isn't that she's taking 20 to maintain in her body. The point is that where the infection is, no one can get to, even that dose. But what it shows the level of infection that's encompassed and encapsulated inside of her body that's killing her. 1,450 capsules is unbelievable, like mind-blowing. I think our record before that was like 1,280 or something like that. So she's like a very special case. But even if it's 25, 6 capsules, this test will find it. And that's why it's so just precious. That's why it's the medicine of the 21st century. Nothing can hide from it. And when Michael and I get together, we're going to show you a live test. You get to see us do it. Yeah.
So you in the notes you were talking about how prophecies, Zechariah and Hosea, Trump prophecies. What was that?
Well, they're kind of painful. But I've shared Amos 7 before. And I think I'll start with Zechariah 13. And he says, and one shall say to him, one shall say to Zechariah, what are these wounds in your hands? So this could be a messianic, the anointed one sort of prophecy. But I believe it's about Trump, and I'll tell you why. He says, and he shall say, because I was wounded at home by those who love me. O sword, wake up against my shepherd, I think is Trump, against the man who is my companion. God is calling him his friend. Declares Yahweh, God of hosts, smite the shepherd and let the sheep be scattered, but I shall turn my hand upon the little ones. So I'm hearing that this prophecy, I believe all of these ancient prophecies are cyclical. They were for one time and then another time and then another time. And I think there's strong evidence of that Trump is his companions placed in office for this thing that you just brought up this morning, for the taking down of Babylon. And but he will be cut off. So here's another one in Hosea. Thus it should be done to you, O house of Israel. That's America. Or house of God, because of the evil of your wickedness at dawn, the sovereign of America is completely cut off. Dawn in scripture is January through March, and I just put a 2026. And here's another one. This would be, I've shared this before. Arise and let's go up at noon. Woe to us, for the day goes away. I think I shared this last week, maybe. For the shadows of the evening are lengthening. Arise, let us go up by night, and let us destroy her palaces. This is war now, you guys. And I'm wondering that if does he get cut off by just a surprise attack? So those are the ones I have on Trump. And I do have one more, but here's one that is very interesting. Amos. And the high places of red communist nations, Isaac, that's the east, shall be laid waste, and the set apart places of America, Israel, Europe shall be destroyed, and I will rise with the sword against the house of Jeroboam. Trump. Then Amos, the priest of God, the house of God, sent to Trump, sovereign of America, saying, Obama, deep state, UN, media, the communist nations has conspired evil against you in the middle of the house of America, Europe, and the ancient land of Israel. The land is not able to endure all his words. For this is what Amos said about Trump, Jeroboam. He shall die by the sword, and America shall certainly be exiled from their own land. Now, the reason I say this is Trump is because both Jeroboams in the ancient scripture never died by the sword. They just died like presidents do, and they were buried. So I believe like this was for a future date. And I personally believe that the true Israel is in America and not over in the Middle East. Now, I'm not putting them down that there's not Israel there, but I think I think the Americans primarily, and I'll come back to you now. I think, and I could probably prove this from other prophecies, that those 13 tribes that migrated from ancient Israel went to the Caucasus around Ukraine and Russia, that in ancient times they got killed and pushed out of that area by like the ancient Russians and the ancient Chinese, and they kept getting pushed out, and they headed to Western Europe, where they colonized actually 13 communities there, the 13 tribes. And then they ended up setting up the 13 tribes again, or colonies in early America. So that true Israel is really embedded in America. And that's what I believe. And some of these prophecies are that I hate it because I see Trump getting cut off.
Well, we see the destruction of evil. Throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
And the people that are with God are protected. And but some people get that to mean that all I have to do is sit back and God's going to protect me. I've been very vocal about this. Sitting back is not going to. God is not going to help those that don't help themselves.
Thank you.
So I'd say that we're rising up against the hordes of Babylon.
Yeah.
And the hordes of Babylon and the people that support them.
Yep.
Fortunately, in the big cities, because I think the big cities, it's not going to be like us or the white hats are going to go against the people in the big cities unless they openly try to kill us. I think the people that have been conspired to come in here and take down America are going to use those useful idiots as cannon fodder to shock America.
Right. I agree. Yeah. And I think those leaders like the Ho we've talked about today, the Newsoms. Another one that I thought of when you were describing them was Pelosi. Like 50
Sure.
years in politics, in power. Come on, nobody's electing that thing more than once. I'm sorry, Michael, but so that kind of power and the Newsoms and stuff like that. No, they're going into captivity. They're going into prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And depending on how they conspire, they'll be held accountable.
Yeah.
And whether treason charges or prison or whatever,
Yep.
I believe that they're never coming back.
I agree.
Because if they had the chance, okay, they've done 50 years or whatever, we're going to let them out again. They'll just do the same stuff again.
No, they're not.
They have to be. These hordes of Babylon have to be complete, just like Babylon was completely destroyed.
Yep.
But then you saw Saddam Hussein come back, claiming that he was Nebuchadnezzar, and we saw what happened to him.
Right.
Through America. So, they'll come back and they'll be taken out again. So,
yeah, no,
one way or the other. But in
back.
this reality, this here and now, they need to be completely gone. Otherwise, they're just going to conspire like they've been doing. And they'll build another network where they'll get power again and then control. So this has to be something that's learned and taught for thousands of years.
Yes.
How we take them down.
Yes.
So that they can't wiggle their way back up to the top again.
And it's fascinating that, so I've had people say, why did God, when Israel went into some of these other nations, why did he say kill all of them? This is why. Because this is where they end up, and this is what they end up doing to us, his kids. And also, I'm reminded, as you were talking, I was thinking of a scripture that talks about, I think a lot of people will recognize this, that Israel is the apple of his eye, that he says, I love Jacob, and he says it's the apple of his eye. Now, let me give you just a quick description of what that might look like. So I know with Michael's kids, they're the apple of his eye. And I'm telling you, the apple of your eye is right there. You touch your eye. Now, I guarantee you this. I'm just picturing this as a dad, but because I know you, Michael, I'm like, so we're having dinner and we're sitting around with Michael's kids, and somebody comes up and starts poking Michael in the eye. That's not going to go very good, I'm telling you, because his kids are the apple of his eye. And that's what God is saying about us, I believe. So, yeah, they might be poking his eye, but it's not going to go very well for very long.
Yeah. I've had Kathy O'Brien on several times. She's amazing. But she talks about generational abuse and how it's committed. And she says after 3 generations, it becomes part of the DNA. So another reason why, people, throughout time have been completely obliterated whole groups.
Yeah, I believe that she's spot on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Becomes part of who they are. And just maybe short of I don't know that there's any therapy for that, but I'd probably suggest, I think about this with Hobam and Newsom, and maybe I shouldn't even say this, but it's just my nature. I'm thinking they need a behind the barn visit with Michael. And just this side of death will teach you, what was his name? He said, what does it take to change the essence of a man? And sometimes I think a good old behind the woodshed moment with a Navy SEAL might be helpful.
It can have an effect, but from my experience, usually when I do have done that, it has had a surface level effect, and usually it creeps back in.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not. Although there have been times where I did something very nice, where normally I would, seek,
right,
massive retribution.
right.
for whatever reason, I backed off on that. And that those people that I did that to turned out to be amazing.
Wow.
So you never know.
Yeah.
Now, if I did that for everyone that came into Buds, we wouldn't even have a SEAL team anymore. It would
Right.
just be a
Right.
bunch of like hooligans running around, and
Yeah.
it would be gone. So, but for
Your
some cases, that is possible.
and so
And
your I just
I
kind of
would
want
say
to.
that the ones where I was like, because everybody knew that I was like very strict
Yeah.
disciplinarian type.
Yeah.
And if I gave someone a pass, it was like, holy shit, I was going to be destroyed, and it didn't destroy me. They're like, type thing. And
Hallelujah.
that was more powerful than the guys I just really came after.
Yeah. Yeah.
That survived me coming after them, because I would see
Right.
them later in the teams, and they never turned out to be good SEALs. But the guys that had that, they were like epic SEALs. So it's hard to call it, but you have to be very skilled in these areas, and you have to know people well. And I'm by far not expert at this. God is the best at this.
Yeah.
So I try and listen to that side of me. I try to calm down and go, okay, where should this go? And that usually works out the best. So
Right.
I would recommend that to everyone out there.
Yeah.
When in these times that are coming,
Yeah.
which are drawing very close,
Yeah.
where it can be a lot of difficulty to trust in your intuition, which is your source with God, your connection with God.
Yeah.
And he communicates with you through that. So if you're connected to God's source and you're listening to God's source, you're going to be guided. You're going to be doing the right things. You'll be protected. But those that aren't, the whores of Babylon, probably not a chance.
And that's why what's coming is upon those who don't have a chance. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Great show today. And we had great specials in the description box. So definitely go down there and check those out. Get those products. Ultralife. When do you think the Intuistat will be back up?
Should be any day. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so keep. I know a lot of you guys want that because it is.
Yeah.
It is. It should be on everybody's list.
Yeah.
When
I found out, I was like, "You got to be kidding me! That's not that."
Yeah. Once we started saying how great it was, it disappeared. There were hundreds of bottles available. It was like, whoop.
This woman that I was telling everybody about today, she was like, she got in and grabbed 18 bottles.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was like, I gotta have those. No, for her, it's life or death. It's survival.
Yeah.
So
wow.
That's how important this is. And like, it's very sad to me. Like, okay, your doctor, oncologist, they can't find a biofilm. So you have to find them.
They're not trained in it. They're not trained in it. They don't go there. They're taught not to go there. I would say they're not taught to go there, but if they're not taught, then they don't go there because they get out of line. They get out of their box, and then they can lose their license and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they're
even if they on their own they could know. It's like very well known, but now the problem has become that there's nothing in pharmaceuticals that can touch it. So it's become like a superbug, hyper superbug. And it's very difficult. Even Shaler, who won the Doctor of the Year award, says, good luck. Even with natural stuff, you better know what you're doing. And so that's like the mission of the store. Here we are. Like, so grateful. I think God has like given us this privilege at this time. So if you guys need help, get into the oral scan.
all right.
Good to be with you. Love y'all.
I don't know. Somebody maybe fear mongering in the chat, but somebody said mega tsunami headed for West Coast. I just saw. So I just try to look it up. I don't see anything. So maybe not.
Maybe someday, not right now. I've heard that.
I don't feel it now, but I do feel it coming, unfortunately. But it can be, timelines can change through prayer and so forth. But some kind of event's coming.
Yeah.
Similar to that. This is going to take great loss of life, I think. And that will be instigated by the deep state.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. And thank everyone that listened. And I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Stay in the love vibrations, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.